now to talk about all this is Elizabeth Licorice, a writer and a former Lululemon employee, also psychotherapist Robi Ludwig, and Heather Thompson, the founder and chief creative officer of Yummy by Heather Thompson. That's a great name for a company. Just by the by. Okay, so Dr. Robi, let's get into this. Let's first of all just talk about the Chinese situation for a moment. It is that time of year. I mean, I share Ivan's surprise that Christmas is even that prevalent in China, given the religious persuasions there. But it clearly was just to build up a pressure here of a man and a woman, and he's sick and tired of shopping and takes crazy, drastic action. But this scene is replicated all over America, isn't it? In the middle of the
I think that's why
not
it's
with
so,
suicide, but with tension and stress and arguments.
It's so identifiable, right? When we go to the mall, men don't really love shopping. Women love it. It's like a sport. We see a lot of men hanging out on couches.
Why do women make men go shopping?
I don't know. I think it's a bad idea.
Because no man I know actually enjoys it. I mean, Heather, why do women persist in wanting their man to trail around a mall for 5 hours looking at shoes? To me, it would be a death sentence.
It's not a good idea. I mean, I leave my husband at home when I shop because it's not fun for him, so then it makes it not fun for me. And I have business to do when I'm shopping.
Right.
I got to get my job done.
You can get more if you don't have somebody complaining, saying, let's go, what are you spending?
I love the fact that you're buying lovely shoes. It's very exciting and everything else, and we're obviously the beneficiaries. I don't want to be part of the process, I'm afraid.
But there's so many other ways to handle it. This man could have said, you know what, I'm done, I need to go home. So clearly this was the straw that broke the camel's back, because there were other issues going on for this man. And I also wondered if he killed himself, it was like a self-attack as a way to not kill his girlfriend because he was so fed up with her. It's a way to really punish her.
Well, as I just said, we may never really know. But
don't know.
It's a very sad story, but it's indicative of all these rising tensions around holiday periods. Let's turn now to this extraordinary Lululemon story. So, Elizabeth Licorice, you are a former employee of Lululemon. This guy, Chip Wilson, he's not great in terms of talking about women, which is completely bizarre, given he was running a company that catered almost exclusively for women.
No, he really shot himself in the foot with the comments that he made, and also the apology that he issued, which wasn't really an apology. It was sort of a not I'm sorry for isolating groups of customers or body shaming women. I'm just sorry that I said something stupid and that my company is going to suffer the consequences.
Now, you worked there. Let's listen to what he had to say, first of all, which it wasn't really an apology. You're right. Let's listen to this.
Some women's bodies just actually don't work for it. It's, really about the rubbing through the thighs, how much pressure is there, and I mean, over a period of time and how much they use it.
That obviously wasn't the apology. That was the offending comment in all its inglorious nature. I mean, Elizabeth, you worked there. Was it actually the reality? I mean, was there a policy by the stores, the Lululemon stores, to actively deter larger ladies from coming in?
Well, the store that I actually worked at, Lululemon makes a size 12 yoga pant, which is considered the lower end of plus size. And those pants were actually not displayed with the other sizes on the store wall. They were actually kind of tossed into a heap in a table that was used to fold all the other pants. So it was a big to-do for plus-size customers to come in, have to request their size. The employee would then have to dig out the size. And since they were, underpicked, they were never current styles. So the customer who was plus-size had a very different shopping experience than the customer who was considered petite.
So
and it was...
Yeah, let me just turn to Heather here, because you're involved in this game. You do Spanx and all that kind of stuff at Yummy, I know. I'm very up to speed on my Spanx and my Yummies. It's pretty outrageous what he said, isn't it? But is there a wider truth beneath the ugly comments? Is this what people do in this game? Are they targeting the yoga pants at a slimmer woman, perhaps? Just don't want to admit it.
Certainly not at Yummy by Heather Thompson. My brand is an exclusive, it's an inclusive brand. It's not exclusive to one body type or one shape. It's not what size pants you wear, it's your shape of your body. And, my thighs rub together and I'm a size 4. So, it depends on what, it depends on what your body shape is and what you're looking for. And my brand is built to and designed to bring confidence to women. You know, we have a lot of pressures out there, and it's really sad when, you know, we as American women, overweight women make up 60% of the population of America.
Yeah.
So we're missing
ridiculous.
a whole big beat. So girls, come to me because I've got you covered. My brand is from extra small to 3X, and we don't hide the clothes and we don't hide
Okay, well,
that
good
fact.
for you and bad for him. He made a cataclysmic error of judgment here. You'd never, ever... So we have now got his grovelling apology, which wasn't really grovelling, but let's watch it anyway.
I'm sad. I'm really sad. I'm sad for the repercussions of my actions. I'm sad for the people of Lululemon who I care so much about that have really had to face the brunt of my actions. I take responsibility for all that has occurred and the impact it has had on you.
Well, Mr. Wilson, we're all sad that you were a sad fattest. Let's move on. Very quickly, I want to just show this picture. This is from the Mandela Memorial today. Very moving and powerful event. But this extraordinary selfie picture. Now, that is the British Prime Minister David Cameron, Barack Obama, obviously, and the Danish Prime Minister, Helle Thorning-Schmidt. Now, this is getting huge attention around the world, mainly because people thinking it's not really appropriate at a memorial service to be posing for selfies if you're a world leader. Michelle Obama seems to be pretty disgusted by the whole thing, we think. What did you think?
But it's very real. I mean, it kind of makes them accessible as leaders. They're just like us. We do selfies, they do selfies. Now, it may not be appropriate, but it's also a different country. Didn't they seem to be celebrating Mandela's life? They were singing and dancing, so it might be very different culturally over there.
I think you're being generous. I think it was inappropriate and bordering on distasteful.
Wow.
World leaders should be better behaved at events like that. Anyway, thank you all very much indeed.
All right, you hear the one about the guy who walks into a psychologist's office and she says, cash only. Well, he goes crazy. Only this isn't a joke line. This is now about the bottom line. And for more and more mental health professionals, it is their final line and their final offer. Obamacare is too much of a hassle, so they're telling their patients we're not accepting insurance. The message to patients who might lose patients is this: pay up or get out. To Dr. Robi Ludwig, here to help us figure it all out and why it's happening. Are you doing this?
It's hardly that harsh, but I do take some insurance, but I've had to not take some insurances because of their contracts and they're not fair. But
well,
usually...
What makes them unfair? What makes you say not this?
The payment is so low, or the payment is less than it was 10 years ago. So it makes it very hard to have a successful business. And not only that, there's an intrusion in the doctor-patient relationship. So I might know what's really best for the treatment for the patient, and the insurance company is just thinking about the bottom line.
So what does that patient tell you when you just have to say, or your staff says, I can't accept that?
Well, they know, and patients know. They will call around and ask, do you take my insurance? And they'll know up front. And if you don't take their insurance, they can make a decision. What is the private fee? And that's either affordable or not. And some therapists and psychiatrists will take patients on a sliding scale.
Do you do that?
I do. With patients I've worked with for a long time, and if for whatever reason I no longer take their insurance, I want to work with them, I'm invested in their treatment, I will work on a plan that works for them.
So this isn't a way for you to get rid of the patients who scare you?
No, and plus, that's not even ethical. I mean, that would be considered abandonment.
See, if I would do that. I would operate under that basis.
Just go.
You scare me, and I don't want to treat you.
No, but I've had patients get angry and say, if you're not taking my insurance, I'm not going to see you anymore, even before they need to terminate.
What do you say then? Don't let the screen door hit you on the way out?
Well, no. I mean, I'll say, do you have a good person to see? I want to make sure that they can be in treatment if they really need to be in treatment.
Good for you. But is all of this coming from the new healthcare law, that it's making it more complicated, more expensive, just more confusing?
Well, healthcare has been moving in this direction for a long time.
Right.
So ever since managed care came into being, it was more about managing the care based on finances rather than what is in the patient's best interest. And a lot of doctors don't want to have to explain why a patient who's homicidal and suicidal needs to be seen a lot more times. It doesn't matter that they were already seen 20 times that year.
Yeah, I take it you don't want to
it.
tell the patient who's homicidal that.
Right, and the insurance company will call the psychiatrist or will call the therapist and say, why do you still need to see this patient? This patient has been in treatment with you, they've had 20 sessions already. Well, because the patient wants to go out and kill people. So
Do you actually say that? Because that would be a good one to tell. Like
sometimes you have to.
Really?
So that is the conflict. But I do think that it's pretty much up front, and patients will know up front. We don't know what Obamacare means, but it's probably not good. That's what we're thinking.
Well, you're trying to handle this, doctor. I give you credit. Thank you. Good seeing you again.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Hi, this is Chris Ferguson, the commander of the Space Shuttle Atlantis, the very last space shuttle mission. You are watching Fox and Friends.
Why, thank you, Mike. Well, you know the saying, happy wife, happy life. Forget it, says a new study. That experiment found the opposite. It had a husband agree with his wife all the time, do her bidding without question. The result was not happiness, but frustration and a crumbling marriage, because the more he agreed, the more miserable he was, and the more resentful she was. They had to stop the study because their marriage was collapsing.
Well, here to weigh in, we have psychotherapist Dr. Robi Ludwig and psychotherapist and relationship expert Thomas Kirstein. Good morning.
Good morning.
We had Governor Mike Huckabee on just a moment ago, and he said, you know what, rule number one when you're married, he's about to be married 40 years, is you can't make a woman happy no matter what. Is that the truth?
Smart man. I don't think that's true.
Well,
there are many women who are happy with
Really,
their
name one.
husbands, so I'm sure that your wife is happy
Yes,
with
I think she
you.
is.
You have to
She
say
may
yes
lie
a
and
lot.
say no and make you work for it.
Right, so what if you do say yes all the time and you're always amicable?
Like the study, the way they call it the study.
Right.
I mean, it's not really a study, it was one individual. But no, you can't be the yes man. You know what the yes man is? Remember that TV show?
Yeah.
All the time, otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy. But you have to pick your battles. I say yes sometimes when I don't really believe it, just because it's easier, because I know it could turn into a blowout. So you got to know how to pick your battles and learn how to communicate effectively.
And think about the resentment that would, grow if you're constantly agreeing and you're really feeling angry. You're not getting to the real issue. And always agreeing is not about intimacy, right? A woman wants to feel understood.
Well, she
and so
didn't
does a man, for that matter.
Well, she didn't like it. I was so struck by the fact that the wife liked it at first, but in the end, she resented her husband for being weak, for being a patsy, for being like a craven
Right.
little suck-up, right?
Well, she probably knew he was lying.
Oh.
And that it wasn't authentic, and that they weren't having a real back and forth and an exchange. And when you're married to somebody, you want somebody else's opinion, even if you don't agree with that opinion, because they provide you with that other perspective on life. So if you have just somebody who's a yes man, then you're not getting that other sense of the world or that other perspective.
Right.
And, the flip side of this, too, I look at it from another perspective. You need to know, if you want to have an effective relationship, you have to have the ability to say, you know what, I was wrong. People struggle to do that. People have a very hard time saying, I am wrong.
So here's what we know for sure, that if your wife is happy, your household is happy. That part is
Probably.
true.
I think
Everybody
that is
knows
true.
that. I've spent 20 years researching this.
Right.
So what is the most effective way to make your wife happy? Turn up the sound there if you're watching this, because we're going to get to the answer of life. How do you make your wife happy?
I think to give her the sense that you enjoy her, that you respect her, that you're on the same page in life, and that you help each other really pursue each other's dreams. That's what really helps a woman and a man. Just small things. And probably guys would say good sex, and women might say that too.
But you want to value one another. You want to value one another. You want to show the other person that you hear them when they're talking.
And during the holidays, maybe nice jewelry as a gift.
Okay,
but that's
so
on
it's
the side.
helping her pursue her
Hints.
dreams, valuing her, wanting to spend time with her.
But it's a respect
And giving
level.
her jewelry.
And giving her jewelry. That's right. I'm glad you got
Let me
that.
get a pen. I'm taking mental notes.
Real quick, we've got to wrap. But the results of this study, we come from very different perspectives. Married for 20 years, single.
Yes.
So, does it also kind of translate into the thrill of the chase in the beginning?
I think it's just you have to be real with the other person in order to have a happy relationship. And if that isn't going on, then you're not going to have
just
And
being
marriage,
a
I'm married
marriage.
a long time, too. You have to be careful because we need to, we can't take for granted what we should be cherishing.
It's about
That's what
creative,
happens.
That is totally
solving
true.
creative differences creatively.
Okay, I'm adding that to the list, too.
That's right.
Holy smokes. Thank you both very
you.
much. That was super instructive.
Thanks for having us.